another exciting episode of Double Narratives with Dr. Anjy. Now, what do we do here? We pick issues that are very pertinent to our everyday lives and we consider it from both sides of the narratives. To my host subscribers, triple thumbs up. And to my new subscribers, please, if you're new to this channel, click on the notification bell so you can see my videos and please do subscribe. Today, we're looking at office romance or workplace romance. Now, oftentimes, we find ourselves in a dilemma when we're in the workplace, and that is when we get romantically entangled with somebody that we work with or our co-workers. Is this a good thing or is this a bad thing? Join me as we go on to look at the good, the bad, and the ugly when it comes to office romance or workplace relationships. Thank you, and don't forget to subscribe. I will be right back. Now, welcome back. Oftentimes, we find ourselves romantically involved with somebody we work with. And this is, of course, in human relations referred to as office or workplace romance. Is it in itself wrong? That these are the questions we want to ask today. Because when you work with someone from 9 a.m. in the morning, or sometimes from 8 a.m. till 4 p.m. every day of the week, or sometimes 7 days of the week, then there is the likelihood that you get fond of each other and this might blossom into a romantic relationship. Now, is this in itself a bad thing? Now, this is what we want to review today. Is a good thing? Should you do it? And if you must do it, what are the things that you need to put into perspective? Now, a research was conducted in human relations studies in 1996 in the USA. It was a survey across 20 workplaces carried out by Professor Salvaggio. And the focus of the research was to look at people's attitude when it comes to when workers fall in love with each other. Now, listen to the statistics. 43% of people who were engaged in this survey have one time or the other either seen people in the workplace in love with each other or are falling in love with someone in the workplace themselves. Now, 59% of people, of these workers feel that oftentimes too, in 59% of the cases, it blossoms into marriage. Now, 99% of workers who undertook this survey said that no one, never, ever in the workplace agrees with when a boss dates or has a romantic relationship with a subordinate at the office. 89% of workers who undertook this survey felt that it was completely out of place when they find co-workers who dated colleagues who were married or married colleagues who were dating other married persons. Now, against the backdrop of this survey, you will agree with me that number one, people engage from time to time in office romance because it's just seemingly plausible that you see them often and then you work with them and then you fall in love with them. That people also feel that sometimes it can blossom into marriage. And so in itself, there's nothing wrong with finding the love of your life at your workplace. And then nobody feels that it's the right thing for a boss to date a subordinate, and then finally nobody likes it when they find married couples who engage in extramarital affairs in the workplace. And so, what are the advantages of engaging in workplace romance? Now, having workplace romance, it's not in itself totally a bad thing because it actually brings some advantages to the table. And these are the advantages that we want to review now. Now, the first thing is it energizes the workplace. Now, imagine that you're in love and you're going to see your lover in the morning. You'll never go late to work, so you're going to be there with a lot of energy, bringing your, all your hay game on the table because you're working with somebody that you're romantically, engaged with. And so this is like a plus because you're bringing more to the table. You have a lot of energy. You are delivering your hay game because not only are you working there, you're also trying to impress someone, so to say, because your lover works there. Another thing is it has a way of motivating employees to work even harder because they put in extra time. So whatever they finish in the boardroom, they take to the bedroom. And so work just continues. It's a sweet cycle of work. And so a lot can be achieved because you have ample time. And to work, and then even after work, you're still working because you can brainstorm after work, even away from the office. Another thing is that it's as a way of softening office conflicts. Because you're romantically involved with someone, the likelihood is high that you would resolve conflict with that person easier. It only takes a little, I love you, okay, I will do it again, and then conflict is resolved. Nobody's writing queries for anyone, nobody's receiving queries from any angle. So conflicts are either, otherwise resolved romantically, rather than doing, the queries and suspensions and all the like of otherwise means of resolving office conflict. Another thing is that it can actually improve teamwork, because when you find people who are romantically involved in a workplace, work together, there's a lot at stake. There's a lot of self-esteem issues at stake, ego issues at stake, whether if you love me, you'll work more with me kind of thing at stake. And so you find that people bring in a lot to the table. And so eventually you find that it improved the spirit of workmanship and team spirit amongst people. There's a lot of amiable spirit in the atmosphere, and people work together. But then when we look at these advantages of workplace romance, these are the findings from the research. That means that these advantages does not actually account for when a superior is dating a subordinate, and it doesn't account for when married people or married persons are actually having extramarital affairs in the workplace. So now we're going to look at some of the disadvantages, or why it's sometimes can be, not so advantageous to engage in office romance. Now, one of the disadvantages that we want to talk about, and that you want to put at the back of your mind when you do start falling in love with that person at your workplace, is, trust me, it can threaten career development. If, for instance, you are in a romantic relationship with your boss, that means from time to time, your boss will cease to do you fair justice in terms of appraisal based on what you deliver officially. Emotionally, there will be sentiments that is going to also bring to considerations on the table. Your weaknesses that he knows about, that nobody knows about, will also be brought to the table. Or his ego might come in. Let's assume you did something wrong, and he feels the best way to get at you is to make sure you're not getting that promotion you deserve. And so in that wise, you find that it can actually threaten your career. It can actually threaten your career in the sense that co-workers can actually begin to feel threatened, and they disassociate with you, and they don't want to talk to you, because there is a seeming thinking that anything happens, then the boss will definitely know, because you're dating the boss or you're dating another colleague. And so they want to, try as much as possible to create a privacy around you. They don't want to let you into information, because they feel that if they do let you into that information, then somebody might be knowing that they don't want to know. And that way your career might be threatened. Another thing is that it might definitely threaten work relations generally. Of course, you're not the only one that loves your boss. You're not the only one that likes your colleague. There are other colleagues who, secretly eyeing him. And now you're the one who is dating. Trust me, it's going to threaten everything. You're going to find yourself in a roller coaster of conflict from time to time with other workers who are likely jealous of what you're doing or angry at what you're doing. So you put yourself in the position where you're at disadvantage in a lot of ways in terms of relationship with other workers. Another thing which can be a disadvantage to when you date colleagues at the office is that, of course, it can conflict in a lot of ways with personal interests that you have. Or it sees you lose a lot of focus at the workplace. He kissed you in the morning, and then you're upset with him, or you had a fight before you left home, and then you get to the office and you transfer the aggression not just on him, but all the other co-workers. And so you get distracted. If you're at meetings, you are distracted. You are more angry with the person at the meeting, and so you're not bringing anything to the table. So the same way that you can have a lot of team spirit and work with him and resolve conflict, the flip side of the coin is that you just find out that you can't work with this person anymore because you don't love him anymore, because you now hate him. And so that is going to, of course, disrupt a lot of relationship that you have. And of course, trust me, your colleagues are going to be absolutely enraged at what you're doing. They don't like it, especially when you're a married person and you're dating another person. Of course, they're going to be upset with you on a lot of grounds, on moral grounds, on religious grounds, on so many other grounds. They will be angry with you. And you can be sure that this is going to affect the way they assess you, your promotion, your relationship with others, your annual assessments. These are the things that will be considered, and then you will you find that you can be a victim of having a romantic relationship with someone you work with. Now, we've said a lot about office romance and workplace relationships. So, what if I find love at my workplace? Don't forget, we can find love in the strangest of places. And there have been cases where people actually find the love of their lives where they work. Don't forget the survey earlier said that in oftentimes 55% of the cases, these people actually, end up married. So what do I do? Now, the first thing you need to do is to understand the company's policy. There are some companies that outrightly discourages romance amongst colleagues. So if you happen to be in a workplace that does not allow you to have, a romantic relationship with somebody you work with, then it becomes a case of, if you love me, you resign for me. Somebody must leave. So you decide who should believe in this this workplace for the other, so that you can retain your relationship outside the office. Now, this is a very tough decision, and you have to be careful that relationship is very sturdy, and it's not headed for the rocks, because you might just lose your job and realize that the relationship does not work out. So this is a very risky one. But of course, if a company says no romance, then there should be no romance. Now, very importantly, so you also want to try as much as possible to avoid dating your boss. Now, dating your boss might seem like it puts a lot of advantages on the table for you. Easy promotions, you get to do minimal work, considerations here and there, because it's only natural. It cannot be objective anymore because it's dating you. But then the other flip of the coin is that dating your boss might also put you in a lot of difficult situations. If the relationship does not work, trust me, you can really be in trouble, especially if you're not dating a matured person. So you want to try as much as possible. If you must engage in office romance and your company policy says yes, you can go ahead, you want to try as much as possible not to date your boss. If you fall in love with your boss, then you might want to leave that workplace so you can have a more objective relationship. Now, the next thing, secrecy is your watchword. Whether you're dating your boss or you're dating a fellow colleague, you want to make sure that you keep your lips sealed. Now, it's not that you now start telling everybody in your workplace, oh, I'm dating my boss, I'm dating my colleague. Keep it as secret as possible. When you're outside the workplace, you can have all the excessive show of emotions possible. But once you're at the workplace, you become very officious towards each other. That way, you don't aggravate those you work with, and also people don't give you unnecessary attention. That way, you keep your romance outside the office and you're not discussing it with your colleagues at the office. Closely related to that is stay off social media. I know that the temptation is high to tell him, oh, post me on your status, or you're not posting me enough, you're not talking about me in social media, that means you don't love me. Once it's a romance that has generated from a workplace, you want to stay clear of social media. You want to be as objective as possible. One, you want to keep it secret until it matures, maybe into a marriage, and then secondly, you don't want other people from your workplace to see what is going on and now begin to, talk about it, and then it aggravates them. So you keep off social media, you make sure that nobody knows about it, and it's as secret as possible until, of course, it can blossom into something more long-lasting. And then another thing is, try as much as possible. I know this is difficult, especially for those who are serving maybe as intern, or for people who go on the popular, NYC Youth Corps, because you're there temporarily. You want to say, well, since this is going to be a temporary place for me, why can't you just, live life at its best? Be careful as much as possible not to engage in flings and one-night stands. Now, I've seen a lot of people on intern who are eventually absorbed because they were absolutely fantastic and they had fantastic records with the company, and that snowballed into a booming career for them eventually. Now, you don't want to spoil your chances. You need to have at the back of your mind that oftentimes co-workers who date interns or people who are working on short time, they do so because they just want to have a fling, because they know you'll soon be gone and you won't be the first. Definitely, trust me, you will not be the last. So you want to try as much as possible. Don't engage in flings. If you must do flings, take it outside the office. If you must do a one-night stand, take it outside the office. And then if you find true love that is enduring, that is beautiful, and you find it in the workplace, congratulations to you. Just make sure you're not upsetting anybody. And do make sure that you keep the office policy on romantic relationships in the workplace. Thank you so very much for joining me. I hope you learned a thing or two about office romance. For those of you who are already having a relationship with someone in your workplace, kindly appraise what you're doing. And for those of you who have had relationship and it has blossomed into marriage, congratulations to you. And for those of us who still want, who our hearts are yearning for a blossoming relationship, if you find it in the workplace, congratulations to you. Please subscribe to my channel and click on the notification icon so you can know when my new videos pop in. And don't forget that this is Double Narratives with Dr. Anjy. Bye.